Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of time, I would like to start entertaining you with our presentation. My name is Wojtek Wilk. I am the Chief Executive Officer of PCPM, which is one of the larger Polish international NGOs. We do humanitarian programs, we do development aid programs, we manage an emergency medical team, but as part of our development aid programs, we have been collaborating with the Kenyan fire brigade community for the last 10 years, since 2015, actually even for 2014. So we have started at a very basic level with the very basic fire brigade trainings, and we are reaching a certain end point in a certain process, and this end point is the urban search and rescue team for the Nairobi metropolitan area that we call Nairobi and Kiambu USAR. Let me show you a short video on this. That program is funded by the Polish government. That's why we can rely on a quite solid financial backup. That's our Made in Kenya fire engine that is a prototype meant to overcome some of the technical challenges the fire brigade system in Kenya is facing. That's our college, and as you can see, the urban search and rescue team in process of training is here on the drill yard, which includes also a rubble ground. Okay, so the background is slightly different. We are not building this team as a team to respond to earthquakes. We are actually building this team to respond to man-made disasters, construction disasters in one of Africa's largest cities. Here you can see the pinpointed locations of various building collapses over the course of last year's Nairobi metropolitan area. It's not all of them. It's only those that are more serious, usually with casualties. But on average, we have between 4 and 6 building disasters in Nairobi metropolitan area every year. And the same pattern can be replicated and is being replicated in numerous other African megacities, such as Dar es Salaam or Kinshasa or the cities in Nigeria that don't have that search and rescue capacity yet. And it's also driven by those mega processes that we are facing in Africa with the higher population growth, people migrating to the cities, rapid urbanization, and the fact that in those African countries, roughly between Morocco and South Africa, not only the fire brigades have little capacity, but they have next to nothing in terms of the any ability to assist people who are under the rubble. So the Nairobi Kiambu Urban Search and Rescue is named such because it comprises personnel from 2 administrative units in Kenya, the Nairobi County and the Kiambu County. Those are 2 separate administrative units. So as you can see, Nairobi County has 30 members on this team, Kiambu County has 24, and we are taking them through a 7-week training program, which is in line with the USAR training methodology, and it's being conducted on the ground in our fire brigade college that PCPM operates in Kenya. The capacity, you can read it from the screen. Obviously, the first one is to set up an incident command system and recognize and assess the conditions on the ground. Then apply various rescue techniques, including the load lifting and levers and any stabilization. And also the team has a capacity to provide emergency medical team and deal with the basic hazmat threats. This again, the focus of our operations is to rescue people entrapped under a collapsed building on one site. So we are eyeing both our staffing and training and equipment for a medium USAR team. Rafael, next slide, please. Yeah, I mean, as a medium USAR, but our starting point is not medium USAR requirements. It's actually what we need to do in Kenya. It's actually being able to cut through reinforced concrete, to cut through the walls, to cut through the ceilings of collapsed buildings. And this is why, obviously, the team also has various equipment and skill set necessary to cut through reinforced concrete and pillars and slabs and everything else. And actually, the rope rescue training was one of the first fire brigade trainings we have implemented in Kenya back in 2014, 15, 16. But here we are taking it more to even more advanced level, so that the team can also respond to other emergencies, such as pitfalls, such as trench rescue, such as extricating newborn babies thrown into the pit latrine. Pretty normal emergencies in Kenya. So all those skills are being put into use. We actually not only use the shoring during the emergencies, but in our training ground we have special building built for exercising confined space rescue, as well as the shoring of the ceilings inclined under different angle. And this is actually the drone photo of our training ground. Number 6 in the back is actually our college. That building has about a capacity to accommodate overnight about 36 people. It's adjacent to a fire brigade that was built a few years ago and actually has grown too small for the needs. But on the back side of it, we are having a proper drill yard with the multi-story containerized simulator with the water point, with the building for shoring and confined search rescue. This is number 5. And number 10 is the rubble ground, which we keep on adding to it with new tunnels, new rubble, new challenges for the rescue team we are training. Number 11, and there are also other locations for exercising the breaking and trench rescue techniques, because those are also quite needed skills in case of Kenya. And those are the few photos how it looks inside. Obviously, the areas to exercise, the rope rescue, the training classes, and the other things. I hope some of you will come over, see it for yourself. Obviously, this is not as huge and multifaceted areas that and colleges we are seeing here in East Africa. We were actually taking advantage of a plot of land made available to us by the local authorities. But in the part of Africa which is devoid of such rescue capacities, we are also aiming at this training ground, at this college, as being a place where other partners can train prospective fire services and rescue operators from other countries in Africa. So we are looking at, we have actually provided, thanks to the Polish government funding, a pretty complete cache of supplies and equipment to the Nairobi Kiambu Urban Search and Rescue Team, including the location devices. They have the entire set. The one thing that we are missing and we are working on is actually integrating the K9 capacity, because in Kenya the K9s are exclusively under the police, and we have to actually bring the police into the fold of that urban search and rescue operations and have them and actually persuade them more to work with us on K9 search. There are few examples. My favorite one is the truck that you can see in the left-hand corner. We actually had to, the Nairobi and Kiambu Urban Search and Rescue Team, we actually had to remove a truck that landed up on the roof of our house. Don't ask me why, but it was a very steep road and the felt brakes and a story like this. But the trench rescue, the various collapses of multi-story buildings, it's such deployments of the team happen with a scary regularity in Kenya, and And this is why we know that capacity and the team is in high demand. The breaking news from just a few days ago, that building that you can see on the photo on the top was slotted for demolition. Some youth, unemployed youth, came in, started to rip off the reinforcement bars from that building, and there was a sandwich collapse. The team responded immediately. They did all their very best, but because of the nature of a collapse, they were not able to retrieve anybody alive. But there were 4 people that were killed in that emergency. And this is yet another building collapse that happens in Nairobi metropolitan area. And again, I'm not saying that Nairobi metropolitan area is the only place in the world the building collapse. It actually just happens all over the African cities. We just don't hear about it that often. And this is my favorite photo from Kenya. The leaning tower of Juja. So actually, too many of those emergencies that we are facing is caused by poor workmanship, but even more so by flaunting the building permits. Somebody gets the permission to build 3 or 4 floors, and is building 7 or 8 or 9 instead, and things start to crack. Funny enough, that leaning tower of Juja started to lean over and endanger a building of the police station. So everybody was wondering, well, where is the police, right? So yes, but sometimes such things happen, and what's even more dangerous is then the people come in to, even if the residents are evacuated, some people to come in to loot or to take some belongings, and then the unfortunate things happen. So what's our future? We are at the moment, I think for the course of the next 2-3 years, we'll work on the Nairobi Kiambu Urban Search and Rescue Team to gain their hands-on experience, to really grease the wheels of this machinery, so that they could do all the operations with their eyes closed. We have to build a better management capacity, because especially for any international deployments, they are just firefighters from the local rescue services, right? We need to bring on the government of Kenya to encourage them to take over the command module, command responsibility. We are also ramping up the logistics capacity. We were looking at the warehouse of the rescue SA. It was like, maybe we have planned our warehouse a bit too small, because our warehouse is like a quarter of it, but still it's coming up, and we'll be actually using the aluminum boxes, and we have a special track for deployments and so on. So working on this logistics capacity, and very importantly, we will be also working with the Kenyan government on the national accreditation. So we hope to become a nationally accredited team by the government of Kenya soon. At this juncture, let me recognize the contribution and support of Clement Kalonga, who has been our guardian angel from the side of OCHA and the representative of INSARAG for Africa, because he's been really guiding us through the processes. Thank you very much. And during any of the breaks, I'll be more than happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
I was just telling Dr. Wojciech that you can take some bilateral discussions with him if you want to know more. But I think the idea is that we need to encourage, they call it South-South collaboration. So a few from Kenya should train in South Africa. A few from South Africa should go to Kenya and train. You were really surprised about the collapsed buildings, but that's the case in East Africa. It's a slightly different context, and it would be great for you guys to also appreciate the sort of hazards that are prevalent in that area of the world. Moving on, could you do the next slide? Just to recall that we are doing a final survey. It's so surprising that the day one survey, there was about 70-something participants that responded. Then the numbers have been dwindling each day. Maybe people are tired or people left, but if you have not had an opportunity, please, you can do a QR code for this final survey, I'll also highlight a few of the findings so far, just to give you comfort that these findings will be in the report. Next slide, please. There will be a closing ceremony later. We'll be informed, but for now, we are on the item number 3. After PCPM presentation, we want to just share updates of what is coming within the network. INSARAG is a family, so we always encourage countries to organize events and invite each other. Next slide, please. So I have 2 that came to me, which I'll just share with you. The first one, next slide, please. The first one has been provided by our colleagues that left the UK ISA. They'll be running an international timber shoring course from 23rd to 27th February. And then they have also a UCC course from 2nd to 60th of March. So now what you all need to do, the nominations are submitted by your focal point. So if you're interested in that course, you indicate your team leader. So for example, if you are part of SA01, and then the SA01 will talk to the national focal point, in this case, the NDMC, and then they will submit the nomination either directly to the UK ISA or through me as your Africa focal point. Then we can submit the names. But they encourage that way of organized approach where individuals don't apply directly. So you tell your team leader submits to the national focal point and the national focal point. So these courses are free, but participants will have to fly themselves, and they've indicated also that they'll need to buy dinner and breakfast and provide themselves accommodation. But for the course itself, it's going to be run for free. So at some point, once you are confirmed, UK ISA will give you the logistical note to recommend where your accommodation can be booked, and then which way do you fly to get there. Next slide, please. The next one, this is something that has just come to the Secretariat, confirmed a few weeks ago, but it was already discussed this year at the HNPW in Geneva. Next year, the regions are not going to organize the earthquake response exercise. There will be a global earthquake response exercise which will be hosted by the state of Qatar, 25 to 29 October next year. So they have sent out a note for countries to start expressing interest for participation, for them to start planning, because it's going to be a huge event. Similarly, as I indicated in the case of the UK ISA, participation in this event could be confirmed by the national focal point. Or if you're an NGO or an individual that still wants to go, the government of Qatar will be able to take you in also as an observer. But for the team, obviously, if you're going to participate as a team, inform the national focal point. And then in the ERE, they allow individual participants and observers. So you can also register as a participant or as an observer. Then they will be able to provide to you the logistical note that covers that event. I'll pause now to just check any of the international teams if there's maybe any upcoming training that you did not manage or remember to remind me to capture it. Yeah.
Yeah? No, it's not. Okay. Just at the same moment, at the same week, if you, Clement, if you can go back to the previous slide. The same week, the same last 2 weeks of February, if you have any of your counterparts in the other African countries, English-speaking African countries, we will be making a 10-day basic USAR training in our training ground, in our training center in Nairobi. The invites have already been sent to a few African countries, and we already have 1 or 2 that have confirmed their participation, especially Tanzania, where the challenge of collapsing buildings is a major one. However, should you know any of your counterparts from other African countries that are preferably English-speaking. We are actually organizing the training on a similar basis as the ISAR, so we cover all the costs in Kenya, especially if you like ugali or those places, then you should enjoy the basic Kenyan food. Accommodation is on us, as long as the participants can fly in on their own expense. So if you have your counterparts in, I don't know, Namibia or Botswana or Zimbabwe or further up north, kindly pass the invitation on our behalf, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So if there's any further updates on events, I think we share with the focal points. So maybe before the final session, we could have our quick final debrief. So we had said yesterday that the final review is about a smaller discussion that we do it in factional areas for 30 minutes. We are asking these 4 questions: what went well, what could be improved, and what did we learn from this ERE? In view of the proposed action point or action plan that South Africa will have to develop to use this opportunity to improve your USAR and your INSARAG activities, we've added a 4th question on suggested action points that could be part of that plan. So I haven't asked my colleagues, but I hope they are all around. The idea was that the groups, your ex-con leads have done their part, so today they're not speaking. But just for the sake of organization, the UNDAC team could go with Lavenia. She will sit in there to listen, but you need to choose a person who can put together the key points in a PowerPoint. And then the USAR international team can be led by Sovek. She'll listen to you and what needs to be improved. And Charles can sit with the national USAR team. John can sit with the LEMA. And Teresa can sit with the other local responders. So between now and the closure of the program, where we'll have the Deputy Minister coming in to make a few remarks, we could quickly do this. And we could use the desks that are outside as well, or some people can remain here, or others can use that room. But it's just about within 20 to 30 minutes, we have to do that discussion and put them on PowerPoint, put them on slide. You need to email to your mentor who is there, or they'll give you my email so that we can consolidate together. So if we want to do this quickly, I'll ask the lead to stand up, and then we can have the functional area move out of the room so that they can go and start. But depending on what time the minister comes, then we'll get guidance from NDMC if they want us to break and have the closing ceremony and finalize, or by the time the minister comes, would be done. Then we can just wrap it up when the minister comes. So, Lavenia. Okay, so let's have all UNDAC-related teams for Lavenia. Yeah, you can sit anywhere, just outside even. So UNDAC. So within 20 to 30 minutes, you should be done, and then we can reconvene. Sovek. So international teams, you go out with her this way to just review the ERI so that we can have continuous improvements for the future. Yeah, the hallway is okay. Yeah, follow her. She's going to help you. Okay, National USAR team, since you are many, I'll give you a chance to stay here. Where is Charles? Charles, you can stay here in this room, right? Yeah, because you're a bigger team. So Charles will just come here and face the team so that they can quickly discuss, and then please use a PowerPoint to type them up so that it's easy. Because if you write them on a flip chart, it will be difficult. John? Where is John? Oh, okay. So John is not around, but Malu, okay, Malu will take the LEMA team. You go up there, yes. So Malu is coming up on that corner, on the right corner. And then the EMT, Teresa, maybe you go with Teresa outside. The guys are EMT and the other responders. You go with Teresa outside. So EMT and others, Teresa is here, is taking you outside. Lema, that corner, that side. But all other NGOs and EMT, yeah, with Teresa. So EMT colleagues, NGO with Teresa. You are EMT, right? Local EMT, yeah. No, no, yeah, so leave the other go Lema guys there, but I think you guys go this way. So the EMT and the NGOs to... I think the Lema group is so big, the EMTs should go out with Teresa, I think. Makes sense for them to join Teresa. Okay. All right, Charles, go ahead.
In Kenya, Nairobi, have not had much experience, and actually I want to appreciate this opportunity that we had this exercise and one had to go back to the theory and start applying it. Besides being an UNDAC member, while I wait for this, I am also the president for Disaster Management Institute of Southern Africa, and I hope afterwards we'll have some of the members that are going to join the institute. So now thank you. As the team, we were a team of 4 from the UNDAC. So we are just going to give a feedback brief in terms of what went well, what our thoughts are. Okay, I'm not sure. All right. All right, colleagues, we were 4, myself, Dr. Velk, there at the back, Ms. Doniso, and Ms. Nalu on the other side. And in terms of what we think went well, I think what worked good for us is that we had one seasoned, well-experienced UNDAC member, 20 years experience, which is Dr. Volk, and myself as an UNDAC but not yet experienced, and the 2 fairly new members that joined the team who actually were willing to learn. And that for us was a plus because of the team, as much as we were 4, it was very easy for all of us to participate and be willing to exchange in terms of the roles and also learn. The other thing that we also wanted to appreciate was the good working team with other, we'll call them clusters, but not necessarily clusters per se, from the LEMAs, the UCC, when we were engaging with the team, when we went to the USAR team members, as we were engaging with them, they were very friendly, willing to share information. So it makes it easy. I think to all the team members, more especially with the LEMAs, Mr. Godfrey, who was the IC, he was very much willing to share information. He would come to the OSOC and to share what he has. And also, there was a good introduction of other members and the ESCON members into the UNDAC system. We feel that as the team, those that managed to be there, we had the GIS person joining us, and they also left there with a good informed of how the system works, because of in between, while we're waiting for other work to be done, we could do the introduction of what the OSOC is all about, how does it operate. So that we managed to do it. Managed to deliver on all the requirements with the tasks that were provided to us. We managed to do and deliver most of them. I think it was only one that we had to deliver outside 4 o'clock. It was sent around 3 minutes past 4. But everything else that was given to us as tasks as the UNDAC, we managed to do it. Communication on what on task, we're done, sorry, on that. We're done to the satisfaction and also on time. In terms of what could be improved, as the UNDAC or as the OSOC, we felt that inclusion of other stakeholders, or rather injects from the other clusters, such as your emergency management, your WASH, your civil military assets, logistics, from internal use, that could have been a good improvisation for the LEMAs, your information management, your GIS office. We felt that that was missing a bit, and that is one of the things that could have been included, so that it would then give a flow of having an understanding of how the UNDAC methods work. The venue, it was not a bit conducive, because we had to run around. All the clusters were different. On the little education I received, it was that the UCC will be in the OSOC. Now the UCC was outside. Now you have to run. We could not infuse ourselves with the LEMAs. Now you have to run to the other end. I think in future, these are just some of the things that we could look at and feel how to improve. Communications should be improved by the organizers. Issues around time management, it became a challenge, because on the first day we were here, we were informed that the exercise on the following day, it will start at 9, to find that it started at 2. Groups are being created, we are not part of the groups. So that as well, it then tends to hinder how you would roll out your exercise. And then what we learned, teamwork is essential. very, very essential. If as a team you understand your challenges, your weaknesses, and your strong pose, it becomes a good plus for that team to work. And where you are feeling that you're being overshadowed or overwhelmed by somebody, just take a step back, breathe, and be able to understand where they are coming from, because of that environment does not require you to be, you are working with an adrenaline, and it can actually push you to a boundary or to an edge. Communication is key. Please communicate. If you're communicating clearly and people understand what you're saying, you will be able to pass and share information. And I think really appreciate the UCC. When you went there and they were talking to you, you would understand what is it that the UCC is doing. So communication was one of the strongest. User strength of seasoned. For us, it came very handy. Dr. Thank you, my D. I call him my D. As an expert, with the knowledge that he has from UNDAC, it assisted. It doesn't matter. You can be a trained UNDAC member if you have not been have never went deployed or done anything. It's like you don't know anything, because of now you have been given this task, and an assumption is that you should know. But if you're working with somebody who's overshadowing you with knowledge, it becomes easy because if you're able to learn from them. And also the other thing was that with the UNDAC, we have what we call the toolbox. And this toolbox, it's where you can actually, with it you can manage time, because of the already templates that we can use. And with us, I think it's something that we missed on because of we didn't use most of the templates. And good collaboration. If you work in collaboration with other systems, it will. In terms of the proposed practical actions, the inclusion of others or external stakeholders, more especially inclusion of local municipalities, district municipalities, and everybody else. If in South Africa we'll end up having our own internal simulation like this, it's something that we can take into consideration. Lastly, in South Africa, we have 10 registered UNDAC members, 4 that are active, and there's a need to recruit more and to save. So we are saying to the National Center, as and when a call for UNDAC members goes out, please, let's recruit as many people from all the 3 spheres of government so that everybody could then learn from the system, because of it comes very handy. And not only from UNDAC, but also for INSARAG. With that being said, thank you, colleagues, for the opportunity, and goodbye.
Thank you, UNDAC. I think that was a good presentation. Yeah, so on a couple of clarifications just to say, so on the UNDAC members, so the others retired, so our roster management allows that people can be members, be active for some time, and if they want, they can retire. But we have added in now an extra dimension, which we want to call them friends of UNDAC, those that have retired and have experience, so that they can also be able to participate and engage. But yeah, you're right, there's only four members, and it's not about the quantity, but quality as well. So we also want the 4 who are active to be available for deployments. There's so many deployment opportunities that come up, and at least Malu went to Turkey, that was great. So we want to see the 4 active, and then when we add more, they can be active. Just one point on the UCC and the OSOC. There are cases where in emergency setups they call locate, but they're not supposed to be, because the work stream of the UCC is really to coordinate the user, while the OSOC is meant to coordinate the other emergency responders that are not necessarily a user. So the 2 are supposed to work together and share information, but not necessarily that it is a requirement that they should sit in the same place. All right, at that point, I want to invite the team that was dealing with the international responders to share their thoughts.
So good morning, dear plenary members and colleagues and friends. We are here to share our insight on behalf of the international rescue teams. We have a few I guess a few points that we would like to share with you about the exercise that we all enjoyed. So I would start with pointing out that the fact that the exercise went smoothly without major setbacks. And every one of us in the international teams, we all noticed that the coordination between the international teams and between the colleagues from Africa, the high level of technical skills as well. So you handled the ICMS part wonderfully. Also the collaboration was on a very high level, and the commitment is also, yeah. So, and thanks to all that, to those facts that it went so well, it allowed us to better share experience with one another, to share our expertise as well, and to enjoy the work, you know, I mean, in general. And so the other, another thing that was noted by us that was on a really high level was role play. We really enjoyed the role play that was offered here on this exercise. And so my colleague from Iceland will continue about the other points that he got.
Yeah, hello. And thank you for the exercise. We also had some points that could be improved for further exercises. We all appreciated the workshop on the first day. It refreshed our memory of how it worked. But I think everyone or most of us at our table would have liked the workshop to be longer before the start of the exercise, so it would be clearer. And the other thing that we saw possible for improvement was the structure in the UCC, with clearer roles and maybe some kind of reception to greet you when you go into the UCC part. Okay.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up, yeah, our feedback, yeah, and thanks again to all of you who participated in this exercise. Thank you.
So there's if you want to read more about the UCC, there's a INSARAG UCC handbook that is there, so you could read more. And there's also guidelines that you can Google and find. They should be on our website, so you can read more about those too. Let me invite those that discussed the national response to come and share the presentation. Charles, who is presenting for your team? Oh, okay.
Just see. Okay. There we go. Good day, colleagues. Thank you once again for everybody being here. I'm just going to quickly discuss what we observed as a team in this exercise. And, well, if I don't make myself blank first. Okay. Yeah, it's an inject. The ex-con's being cruel to us for a second. Yeah, I think it's a them problem, not a me problem. Okay, there we go. Welcome back again. So in terms of what went well, we actually felt that the collaboration between the international stakeholders and the national stakeholders was actually very well handled, and we really enjoyed the experience of learning from our international teams on the ground. The implementation of the ICMS was obviously, as we said to most people, we have not had the system in our country. So this was a dive into the deep end, and well done to our whole team that was willing to take a system they've never worked on, that we haven't even been able to open so far, and just use it and go with it as well as you can. It shows the courage that this team has to try new things and be innovative. Learning to use maps. So we actually had some good experience with the maps, and to a degree, at a stage, we didn't have maps, and then we had to assign live, so we learned on the ground how to use maps firsthand, which is also, once again, an awesome experience. Coordination of resources, bringing all those resources together. I think for the first time we actually saw how you ask for 50 liters of petrol and you get 50 liters of petrol, and your people will say, no, but I need a document that says that I actually received this. And the reality is that you should have had a massive truck bringing it, so you probably would have seen it, but it was a good experience in that sense. Improved communication. We all communicated well, and I think that was really, for us as a team, to see internationals working together was, as I say, really awesome. And then the integration with Lima. Normally when we do exercises, it's very much USAR orientated. I think we all saw the value of stakeholders and Lima coming in to assist in everything they can. Once again, we loved having you guys and having you as our international relationship building partners, and we hope to see you soon, and we hope you come back for holidays to our awesome country. The cultural exchanges, I think Mr. Dussie would, he would actually, with the attack Dussies, he probably could tell us a lot. I learned more about Dussies this week than I think I ever want to learn again about Dussies. And the vulgarity of maybe having a fact sheet and you hear it incorrectly about Dussies. So that was a moment. And then excellent exhibition. We did enjoy the exhibition and how you took the trouble. Thank you to National for arranging that. Security management at work sites. We were a bit lacking in our security, but in general, I think we all picked up and it worked well. Then the preparation by ExCon. We know they had a very, very short period to work in, and we really appreciate the amount of time and the lessons learned from that side as well. And in the high level of discipline between the teams. You know, it's amazing to see that we all can work together towards one goal in a disciplined fashion, following an internationally recognized methodology. Let's see if I can make this work. There we go. What can we improve on? So obviously, it's ICMS. We can definitely learn a thing or two there, and we will take the feedback that was given in a more structured approach. We will definitely be integrating into our UCC and our RDC. Then improved information sharing amongst our teams. We definitely will be trying to speak to each other more and working in that sense and working less in silos, especially with our international partners and with our local partners. Then integration between Lima. So as we said, we can use our Lima more, we can integrate them more. I think we've learned a lesson there. Then issuing tasks on UCC and other sectors. As we said, a more structured approach will assist in that manner. Then review of the USAR structure in line with INSARAG guidelines. So we have to recheck how we do things. Obviously, we've only had book knowledge because we've not deployed. And we've had the opportunity to meet teams that have on-the-ground knowledge that gave us guidance in where we might be doing one thing one way and we could be doing it a better way in a similar, or just by tweaking it slightly. So maybe just tweaking our system, not rewriting the book would be helpful. Then update on ICT equipment. We all used our personal laptops in this one, so I think PDMC, you've noticed the need. So, and National, please support PDMC in noticing our need. Then detailed maps within UCC, so we've seen the value of using maps. Preparation sessions for maps before we start an exercise. So in terms of ExCon, it would have been really, really helpful if we maybe had just gone over where what is on the map system before we started it. But in real life, maybe you would walk into a situation where you wouldn't have a preparation session and you'd hit the ground running. So on the other hand, it might be real-world experience counting there as well. Then a provided translator is possible, because I did not understand that people say they don't understand me and they didn't understand me. So translators are critical in situations like that. And then timers pre-planning for the focal point. Our focal point could have made all our lives just a little bit easier if we had started planning just a little bit earlier. You know, we are disaster management, preparedness is key. Maybe let's even integrate it into our events planning. And what did we learn? We had a deep dive introduction into ICMS. We jumped off that 10-meter high diving board and fell flat in the water and did a massive belly flop and then swam to the other side. But we made it. So importance of coordination, I think we've all seen how magically the INSARAG system is, and I have new respect for how teams work together and how we integrate and how we assist each other and become brothers and sisters. I wouldn't say in arms, maybe in rescue gear when we get together on a field, and I hope that we have the opportunity to deploy and meet you all in an actual event. Or an exercise will do if we can't have that. We don't want people dying for us. So various techniques of communication, I think seeing the ICMS, the radio systems, and the VOSOC was amazing, and seeing how they integrate into each other was really an experience for all of us. And the breaking of silos and working together. In South Africa, we love our silos. We like building walls and high gates. And I think it's time. We need to start working together, because it's about saving lives, not being a single institution with a single goal mind instead. Making a base of operations secure and flexible. My base of operations manager says that he learned so much from you guys that he's going to want to write a book when he's done with this. So creation of sub-ExCon leads for each component. That also just gave a depth of this structure that we might not have incorporated in our previous exercises, and we will take that as a lesson learned. Clear roles and responsibilities in UCC, we've carried them over and will be integrating them the moment we set foot at home. Then preparedness, I think that's a critical one. And then use of technology to make things easier. We don't have to do everything on paper, and we should avoid if we can. And a need for teams to be self-sustainable. We nearly left our printer at home, and when we got here, we really needed our printer. So I think we learned that even if you think it's not going to be of any value there, just take it along, it's probably going to be. All right, and then proposed practical action points for South Africa to enhance USAR activities, frequent participation in USAR simulation exercises. So do as many as you can, as much as you can, how often you can. Frequent participation in international exercises. We need to connect with you guys and learn. Okay? Reviewing a moratorium on international travel. We currently in the country have a moratorium on international travel, and we need that sorted. My team is very big, so they gave me a lot of information. Mechanism to improve response times, and then review of scenarios to better align with INSARAG guidelines, and we need to source UN OSHA support, which we've got here and we've been doing. Finalize review of the framework within the country, which has been a stalled process. And then we need our policy and operational focal points to work together for deployment and capacity development. Then we need to collaborate with external stakeholders, which has been mentioned, and motivated for a dedicated annual budget. And then we have to advocate for support from the Treasury and the Presidency, because USAR SA01 is a national asset. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your day.
A lot of suggestions on the action points, so that would be helpful to formulate the part that South Africa can implement. So I've been informed that the Deputy Minister is on the way to come here. So when he comes, I'll give you, they'll give me a sign so we can stand to welcome the Deputy Minister, and they'll sit in front here. So we'll pause our program to allow the Deputy Minister to speak to us, and then we'll proceed. But at this point, let me invite the presentation from the LEMA to share their feedback from the LEMA perspective. And please email me the presentation, or if you mail it to Teresa or Malu, then I can have it as well.
Good morning. Before I continue, I would like to call my co-IC because we work together, Mr. Cameron. I think I will just do 2 slides and then he will do the other 2 slides. We worked as a team. Let me appreciate the opportunity that we were given as a team Mr. Cameron and myself to lead the Lima, to the most hardworking team ever. We were very proud of the team. Just to summarize, we'll start with what went well. It was, I think we'll start with what went well was that we collaborated and there was cooperation between all role players. And as you can imagine, we had all the big guns in the room, you know, so we had to coordinate everybody. However, there was good cooperation. And we also had different skill set, which was brought by different role players. And as well as we would really like to appreciate our facilitators, Malu, and yes, that's my guy. You know, he was there, and even when we were feeling overwhelmed, he will just guide, and then we'll go and, you know, go to his corner and take him to the side. He will then guide us and say, no, you are actually on the right track. So thank you to the coaching and the mentoring. Oh, she knows that, yeah, she helped a lot. Thank you, Teresa. You were awesome. And to the most hardworking team, we really worked well with the injects, and there were so many. When we were trying to organize ourselves, there will be an inject. I will see people coming in, marching, and we were so scared. But the whole team, we then had to deal with that. And I think we worked so well with the team, with all the injects that were brought in. Yeah, the role players' egos, you know, like I was saying, we're working with the big guns, you know, so they had to be set aside. Some of them, even those with lots of energy, you know, like I'm looking at some of them, they had to be set aside, so to the team's benefit, but we did very well together, and there was a clear line of communication between role players. I don't see my, our liaison, I don't see him, but he was very active for us. So what could be improved, what we felt was that time management inherent to the team was also based, it also impacted the performance of the Lima, because it was a big team. So when we say 15 minutes tea break, some did not come back after 15 minutes, so we had to go and look for them. So those were some of the improvements that we need. The use of foreign terminology and acronyms. Look, we're in a meeting with Malu and Teresa, and I don't see her. And they were saying UNDAC and OSOC, and I even remember talking to Dr. Ngide saying, and now I'm really lost. I don't know what they're talking about. So yeah, so I think if that can be improved, the use of acronyms, if we can maybe get that information on time. And I think what we also aligning ourselves with the previous speaker, the use of ICS by all of us, different role players, and practical use of maps as well, and also the ICS forms, like practicality of the ICS, not just a knowledge, but we also need to practicalize it. And I think the suitability of the conference facility, it didn't work very well for us, because, you know, as the ICS, we had those leaders. we couldn't sit and caucus. We didn't have that, and each team was supposed to be sitting separately, but we couldn't. Each team had to sit at the corner, and we were all talking at the same time. We were trying to work as the leaders, and then they will call Mr. Cameron, somebody's pulling me this side. So it was not really conducive for us to work well. And also the ERE guidelines, if maybe that can be provided ahead of time so that we can go through them. And I think as with the previous speakers, the inclusion of key stakeholders, we did not have that, and we saw we needed social development, we needed other stakeholders, and they were not part of the team. Mr. Cameron, what did we learn?
Good morning. So the incident command system and how to use the ICS. I think that was an eye-opener for everyone because that's not a system that we are used to. So that was probably one of the biggest learning points for us all. Also the processes, the UNDAC and the whole INSARAG integration into the country and into our structures, that was a big learning point for us. So yeah, and then exposure to the roles and responsibilities of all these other bodies and institutions that is involved. We were never exposed to that type of information, so that was a big learning curve for us. Then also it gave us an opportunity to identify gaps in our own systems that we need to address in the future. And then also the importance of effective communication with the affected communities. We had protests, several protests, and we just learned that we cannot just concentrate on dealing with whatever comes out in the incident, our actions on addressing issues in the incident itself, but also how do the affected communities perceive what we are doing, and also look at their needs and communicate regularly and effectively with them so that they are up to date as to what the priorities are and what our challenges are, and so on and so on. Cultural awareness and nuances that could be construed as rudeness. We were exposed to different cultures, different ways of pronunciations, accents, those type of things with the international community. Some sound serious while they are not actually serious. They may make it.
Can you just pause for a while to allow the minister to come in? So can I? Okay. Okay, so you give us an sign, then we can.
Okay. Are you gonna? I think we got a cue to stand. Can we please stand? Thank you very much. So yes, then we realized the different cultures and languages and pronunciations from the different countries that may be understood as being rude, which it would not have been. It was just a normal way of speaking in their countries. We also realized that the importance of psychosocial counseling and support for communities that the affected communities, as responders, we go out and we do what we need to do, but the effect on the communities is sometimes overlooked. So there's where the social issues that we need to address also in these type of incidents. Another point of learning was also, which I didn't see the last point. It was about the escalation of incidents. So it starts as a small incident, or we get involved in what is reported to us when we respond. But as time goes on, it just becomes more complex. And the response becomes just beyond what we can do. So it exposed us to that type of scenario, that it's an international or a national disaster at this scale is beyond what we would have thought of in terms of escalation. It just becomes very, very complex. So the proposed practical action points for us is it relates to the system, the incident management system that we use. We saw the importance of ICS, and we really need to go that route and get training in ICS. Now, when we have a system, ICS, a system that we practice in the country, we also then need to exercise that. So it's very important that we then also deal with the exercises that go along with the incident management system. Our exposure to international teams, we need to enhance that. We need to have more regular exposure as a country to what is happening in the world in terms of rescues. And then the importance of emergency services structures for coordination, where in a specific region or a specific city, where emergency services work together, they get to know each other, and when we get into these type of situations, it's much easier for them to relate to each other. They work well together because if they meet regularly and coordinate their actions regularly on a monthly or quarterly basis, it just becomes easier to work together in these types of scenarios. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. I think the lemma, the importance role of the local emergency management team cannot be overemphasized, because you are the ones that start the response, and the international teams depended on you to be guided in terms of where do they go in the Eastern Cape, what are the security arrangements for them to be able to execute their role as international user teams. So that was very important. So as I indicated, we'll have the last group later after we do the formal closing ceremony, and I'll ask my brother Jahez to lead on that component. Thank you so much.
Just checking if it's afternoon or morning still. So, no, good morning. According to my watch, it's a minute before 12. So, good morning to everybody. And good morning to some familiar faces that I see in the crowd. And I'm including you, Deputy Minister. It's really nice to see some of you again. And it's a pity that I couldn't be here earlier in the week to actually meet some of the ones that I don't know. My job is to essentially to facilitate the closing ceremony and not to do the thank yous. But it's important for us to recognize that the people sitting in the room is coming from all over the world. And it's very important, you know, that we do this work in preparation, because if you don't do this work, your chances of saving that one life diminishes. So preparation is the critical component, colleagues. And from, you know, certainly from the National Disaster Management Center and from my colleagues that has been working around, you know, the clock for the last few days, thank you very much for taking the time from, to travel here from very far places in the world, for taking time away from your families, to come and teach us where we can improve. I hope that we take the learnings. I've taken 1 or 2 notes already. But, when we talk about what do we learn, after this we have to go and we have to fix those things. But I also hope that when the colleagues from, the other countries leave here, that you leave, with a sense of South African hospitality, but that you also, leave with a sense of learning yourself, that you've learned from us, and how we do these things. It's my pleasure now to, to deal with a somewhat, shortened closing ceremony. I want to invite, Martin Wimsra from who is the global lead from OCHA, to the podium, to come and say a few words. You have the floor, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Dijssel. Apologies. Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, it's a pleasure to be here. First, I'd like to acknowledge the Honorable Mr. Prince Solile Burns Kamashe, the Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs of the Republic of South Africa, and also the National Director and Management for the Disaster Management Center of South Africa, which is the INSARAG National Focal Point, as well as the International INSARAG USAR Teams here present, and we have at least 6 here that are INSARAG classified. The International Observer USAR Teams and other local, provincial and national responders. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I would like to congratulate all participants on successfully completing the 2025 INSARAG Africa, Europe, Middle East Earthquake Response Exercise. Your leadership and active participation have certainly impressed me, alongside the professionalism and dedication shown throughout the exercise. You've made it clear that when we come together, we can and do make strides in improving disaster preparedness and response. It's been a pleasure for us as International Search and Rescue Advisory Group Secretariat to have supported this ERE, Earthquake Response Exercise. You, particularly the representatives of the government of South Africa, have turned up in very large numbers and at all levels, which has facilitated very well the exercise, and you've demonstrated to be an active and reliable partner to the INSARAG community. Now that you've gone through the earthquake response exercise, you might be looking at the future, and perhaps given the fact that USAR SA had classified in 2017 as a medium team, it might be time to look as a next step at a reclassification process to consider. In looking forward, there are many areas where we can engage and where I hope to see you later in 2026. The INSARAG Steering Group meeting during the Humanitarian Networks and Partnerships Weeks we are organizing in Geneva on the 10th of March. Perhaps the global meeting held once every 5 years. It will this time be hosted by the government of Brazil in Foz do Iguaçu. And we also have, there's lots to come in 2026. We will have a global exercise hosted by the government of Qatar on the 28th and the 29th of October, but more on this will be following. And last but not least, we are excited about the new INSARAG guidelines that will be launched most likely in Brazil. And the Guidelines Review Group has been working very hard to prepare these with the members of the network. I would like to thank again the organizers, particularly the Exercise Control Committee, the EXCOM, and I would like to also provide special thanks to Mr. Clement Kalonga, who has been a key in, from our point of view, in the lead up to supporting the preparations for the exercise from the INSARAG Secretariat. I'd like to thank you for your planning and coordination, for ensuring the seamless flow of the events. Your efforts behind the scenes were instrumental in making this exercise run smoothly, and we are deeply appreciative. I also would like to acknowledge again the teams that we've had here, ultimately the 7 teams that participated, for sharing their best practices among the network, and I hope that you all benefited from this. Finally, I would like to once again express my gratitude to the government of South Africa and the National Disaster Management Center for very generously hosting this event. And I hope to see you soon in one of the events that I listed before. Congratulations to the team, to you all once again, and I wish you all a very safe travel home. Enjoy at least the time that you have here in South Africa. Thank you so much, and back to Mr. Dijssel.
Thank you, Martin, for those words, and the kind assessment of of the work that has been done during the week. But I think it's also important for us to take note, of the program of work that is happening within INSARAG in the next few months and years. Now those guidelines and things will actually work to develop, the global system of urban search and rescue. Colleagues, it's now my privilege to invite to the podium the Deputy Minister for Traditional Affairs, the Honourable Deputy Minister Bernd Nkomashe. Deputy Minister, while you make your way to the podium, colleagues, it's really a privilege for us, for having the Deputy Minister take time out of his schedule to come and close so eloquently these events. It's critical, Minister, for the leadership of the country to be involved in this. It cannot only be done by the officials. The leaders, the political leaders who decide on the resources that we require, come from people like you. And it's really, a very good thing for you to be here, to take time. I know that you had to rearrange your schedule quite significantly to be here, but it shows that you take this, this issue as an important thing. We look forward, to the words that you have to say. Let me hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jagans, Diesel. What is common between the two speakers, Program Director and Martin? If you observed as they were coming to the podium, there's one thing in common between the two of them. They didn't have to adjust the mic. And I can sense some mischief between the two of them. Because they knew that I'm coming. Now, I can say the trick to expose my sense of being vertically challenged. Well, let me take this opportunity to greet all of you first, because I believe all of those who are classified as very important people even if they were to be here, sitting with all the titles that they may have, but they can never be as important as you are. You are the ones who have actually made the objectives of this gathering achievable. So without you, this would have been probably an academic exercise and engagement. More so that we are in an academic institution named after one of our revered global icon, Nelson Mandela. Can I therefore extend my humble greetings to all of you first. Let me acknowledge Mr. Martin, Visma, from the global lead of the International Research and Rescue Advisory Group. I'm told that there's also Mr. Clement Kalonga from the Humanitarian Affairs Officer, Emergency Response Section. Can I see where the person is seated? Thank you very much, sir. Let me give my greetings to the senior leadership of the National Disaster Management Center, including both provincial and local disaster management centers, leaders of our fire services, USAR teams and emergency response, members of the NGOs, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, I'm not sure whether the team from Malaysia is still here. Oh, yes. This is the team I happened to meet at the airport on Saturday. And I'm sure you'll go back to Kuala Lumpur with a good sense of what it means to be in South Africa as a destination of choice. What has brought us all here is what I can characterize as human vulnerability. In situations of natural disaster. So what it means is that as you gather here from different countries, different destinations throughout the world, there is no single country, regardless of how powerful a country can think it is, can be a solution to the challenges of the world. It can only be through partnerships and collaborations when all of us sharing mutual respect and mutual sense of humanity that we can come together and find solutions to the challenges that we face as human beings. and natural disasters are some of those catastrophic episodes which teach us to work together, love one another, always strive to build a peaceful world. Whether it's earthquake, volcano, storms, the bottom line is that we need each other. It is therefore a privilege to address you this afternoon as we conclude the earthquake response exercise. High-level undertaking that has once again demonstrated the strength, discipline, and operational excellence within South Africa's disaster response system. Over the past days, we have observed the deliberate testing of capabilities that are essential to saving lives during one of the most devastating disasters known to humanity, which is earthquakes. Just before we entered the room, I had a conversation with Martin and Jurgens to say, in terms of the architecture of our infrastructure, what kind of engineering technology can we innovate in such a way that in instances of earthquakes, the buildings that we have remain resilient, thereby saving the lives of human beings. If for whatever reason this building can collapse here as a result of an earthquake, I doubt if there's any one of us here can survive. And what will kill us is not the earthquake itself, but it will be the brick and mortar with which this building has been built. When it falls all over us here. Now the question is, with all the technological evolution, have we not arrived at a point where architecturally and otherwise, can we come up with infrastructure that is resilient in ways that even at the highest earthquake attack, the structure can remain intact? So as the university that I believe, you also teach architecture and other qualifications. Maybe a more intense research has to be done so as to ensure that we come up with better response and resilient infrastructure in such circumstances. Though not common in our region, the global landscape teaches us that no country is immune from risk, and preparedness remains our strongest form of protection. Today, South Africa has reaffirmed that it is both capable and ready to respond to complex emergencies in alignment with INSARAG, this acronyms. Sometimes they can make life very difficult. In line with the globally recognized standards. A hypothetical catastrophic earthquake striking the heart of Nelson Mandela Bay formed the basis of a major international crisis response exercise. The Africa, Europe, Middle East Earthquake Response Exercise 2025 has been designed to test how a large-scale seismic event would be coordinated at the national level and to examine the mechanisms through which international urban search and rescue teams would integrate into South Africa's response and recovery systems. Throughout the exercise, international and local USAR teams, emergency medical teams, government agencies, NGOs with crisis response mandates, provincial and local departments operated collectively to rigorously assess the country's preparedness for a disaster of this magnitude and complexity. The lessons derived from this simulation will play a critical role in strengthening South Africa's readiness for catastrophic events, enhancing intergovernmental coordination, and identifying capabilities that may require further refinement. In the portfolio of traditional affairs, our work is deeply rooted in the lives, in the lived realities of communities. The rural, traditional, and often most vulnerable households who bear the greatest impact when disasters strike. Collapsed structures, disrupted livelihoods, fractured community networks, all of these consequences reach deep into the heart of traditional society. It is therefore imperative that our readiness efforts are comprehensive, inclusive, and cognizant of the cultural and socio-dynamics that define our people. So what it means is that when we deal with our response mechanisms, we should equally place indigenous knowledge systems into the equation as part of knowledge capabilities. As part of the implementation of the General Assembly Resolution 57/150 on strengthening the effectiveness and coordination of urban search and rescue assistance, INSARAG has formalized these events into multi-stakeholder training exercises to not only strengthen national response, but also to promote and practice coordination methods in common with other disaster response networks and partnerships. South Africa is honored to have hosted the earthquake response exercise for 2025. And it enforces our responsibility to ensure that no community, whether urban or traditional, remote or densely populated, is left behind in our preparedness and response planning. The professionalism demonstrated here strengthens public confidence that South Africa possesses the capability leadership, and institutional maturity to safeguard the lives and dignity of its people. While consistency in exercising standards is essential, we also recognize that regional and national contexts inevitably require a degree of variation. Because the earthquake response exercise and INSARAG regional exercise, we have looked beyond national relevance and ensured that the design and execution of the exercise also advanced the broader needs and priorities of the region and the global community. The recent G20 outcomes, particularly the adoption of the G20 Disaster Risk Reduction Ministerial Declaration under South Africa's presidency, reinforce the very logic that underpins our call for flexibility, adaptation, and contextual responsiveness in the earthquake response exercise design and implementation. The declaration underscores the central importance of disaster risk reduction for protecting people and communities most at risk, and highlights the imperative to address disasters in ways that reflect national circumstances and local vulnerabilities. All of you, I'm sure you are now witness, as against whatever that may have been said about South Africa, that South Africa has hosted a successful G20 presidency. No single country that visited South Africa has left with an impression that even if we are to be afforded the second opportunity to host the World Cup, FIFA World Cup, we will still do it successfully. Even if we are afforded an opportunity to host Rugby World Cup, we will still do it successfully. Whether it is a Cricket World Cup, we will do it successfully. Whether it's Olympics, we will host them successfully. This global level endorsement validates why the earthquake response exercise package must remain a common starting point, but one that is tailored by each exercise control team to the operational, technical, cultural, and governance realities on the ground, especially where traditional, rural, and vulnerable communities are concerned. Moreover, the broader themes canvassed by the G20 presidency, namely solidarity, equity, sustainability, and inclusive development, mirror our own commitments in government to safeguard all communities, urban or rural, modern or traditional. The G20's emphasis on resilience, sustainable infrastructure, and risk reduction as essential elements of long-term development invites us to embed those same values into every planning and response exercise we conduct. Hence, when earthquake response exercise hosts adapt the standard package to regional or national realities, they are acting in consonance with the spirit of G20's global consensus that disaster response and disaster risk reduction must advance not just technical readiness, but social equity, inclusion, and sustainability. I wish to commend the National Disaster Management Center for its unwavering stewardship of national disaster risk management. The NDMC's continued alignment with INSARAG methodologies, its role in advancing urban search and rescue capacity, and its leadership within the SADC region have positioned South Africa as a credible and respected actor in the global humanitarian system. Your efforts today reflect a strategic vision that goes far beyond compliance. They reflect a commitment to excellence. We are forever grateful to the teams from the following countries that supported us during this exercise. I'm told there's a team here from Russia. Can I see you? Those are our BRICS partners. Thank you very much. Estonia. Thank you very much. UAE, United Arab Emirates. They left. Good. What is important is that they came. And I was recently in Abu Dhabi. I understand what it means to live in a country that is a desert and how they have transformed a desert into a destination of choice where all countries of the world, in one form or another, wish to visit Dubai. United Kingdom, UK. They've left also. Okay. Of course, Malaysia. Thank you very much. Now, I was telling them that when I went to Malaysia, sometime, it must have been around 1998 or so. Or 99, 2000, somewhere there. We went there because they designed a technology that guaranteed them 100% safety for initiates, those who go for initiation. They have a history of going to the initiation in the same way as we do. And because they had big numbers of different ages, they had terrible episodes of fatalities until such time that one of their scientists, Dr. Sin, developed a technology which he called a Tara clamp, which he named after his father. Unfortunately, you know, when you deal with matters of that nature, in circumstances of high levels of conservative ways of doing things, it's not easy to manage that transition. So what I'm trying to say is that those of us who are here, who undergo initiation. We must not think that we've got exclusive monopoly. Other countries elsewhere, they do it as well, for different reasons. So that's what we learned from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and Kenya. Thank you very much. I've just recently visited Nairobi. I was coming from Tanzania. Thank you very much. Poland. Thank you very much. Switzerland. Have they left also? No, I'm still going to Iceland. And Iceland. Well, I'm sure you are happy with all the summer in South Africa. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your cooperation and solidarity. To the above countries and international partners from INSARAG, the UN system, and the broader global community, your collaboration has once again strengthened our collective readiness. Earthquakes and major emergencies do not respect borders, and your presence here reflects a shared understanding that preparedness is a global responsibility. Exactly what I said. To the local men and women who took part in this demanding exercise, your technical skills, endurance, and discipline have been outstanding. Can I see all the local men and women? Thank you very much. You can sit down. One thing you have not done, you did not share with me the PPE. It would have been a good thing if I also came looking just as you are. So that, the solidarity starts here, where I will also demonstrate that this is not just an ordinary PPE. It's really the quality which typifies our zeal and commitment to the work that we do, because we commit to service excellence as part of our character. To the local men and women, you carry the hopes of our nation when disaster strikes. And your performance here demonstrates your readiness to serve with courage and precision. I urge you to carry the lessons learned back into your operational environments as part of our continuous improvement as a nation. As we bring this program to a close, let us remember that preparedness is not an event. It is a sustained commitment. The insights gained from this exercise must now inform policy refinement, intergovernmental coordination, traditional leadership, engagement. When I say traditional leadership, I also include Khoi and San, and broader community resilience efforts. Our path forward must be defined by stronger partnerships, deeper collaboration, and an unwavering focus on safeguarding lives. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your dedication to building a safer, more resilient South Africa, including your own countries of origin. Let us move forward with unity, discipline, and shared determination to protect every community, traditional and modern alike, from the impact of disaster. And the time is never to procrastinate. The time to do, the time to plan, the time to execute is now. Thank you very much.
We're going to do it here. DM, just before we let you go, there's a small handover ceremony that we want to do, but I just want to share with you, DM. I know that you have a good sense of humor. Somebody in the group here has got a good sense of humor. They WhatsApped me while I was sitting to say, we got the mic right, wrong for you. But we got the length of a podium correct for you, DM. So I want to assure you, DM, at the next meeting we will have the microphone ready for you. DM, perhaps maybe I can just reflect, if you allow me just 1 minute. In 1985, there was a massive earthquake in Mexico. And in 1988, there was another massive earthquake in Armenia. And at that time, DM, INSARAG did not exist. And it's as a result of the vision of people that responded to those events that INSARAG was born, and it has grown to what it is today. And in your speech, you talk a lot about vision, about what we envision and that we need to act. It is out of these discussions and these speeches of vision that excellence grows, DM. And we hope that people have taken the words that you have given so that we can take this thing for the next generation to the next level, so that there is growth, that those individuals that have died and have suffered in those earthquakes don't suffer the same fate. But it's not only about rescue. It's like you are saying, we have to get the preventative concepts also correct. It's not only about response, it's about prevention. So in that regard, DM, I want to thank you very much. I also maybe want to just indicate to you, you will see that in the team there's a number of people that are also vertically challenged, like you say. And we do that for a reason, DM, because short people are best suited for those small spaces where people have to go. So we are more than happy to give you one of those fancy suits and to train you, DM. But it's quite important, DM, that we understand that in urban search and rescue, there's a space for everybody. It's not only about response. It is people like you that make decisions on prevention mechanisms that save lives that would have never been in jeopardy. So, DM, I just want to hand over quickly to our colleague Martin to give you a small gift, handover that is normally done at this, and then we will close the session. I'm not sure if you want to do it there or in front of the flags, but perhaps we can move this out of the way.
Thank you very much. This is purely ceremonial, handing over the plaque of the International Search and Rescue Advisory Group. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Another acronym.
I'm sure you can say this is very beautiful. It places me right at the heart of Switzerland and New York. I'm actually receiving this by faith in Switzerland and New York. As I'm standing here, you can see I'm actually in Switzerland. And the next step I take, I will actually be in New York. And the last step I take, I'll be back in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dear, my last action that I have to take is to thank you very much for taking the time. Thank you to every other individual, to OCHA and all the organizations that has participated. But DM, as a last point of action, I think it would be remiss if I don't mention this. Dr. Sithole is not here because he's in cabinet at the moment. As we speak, there's a cabinet meeting that deals with gender-based violence. We need to stamp it out. And it's the message that government will come, that all of us needs to participate in this. Every session that we have, we need to speak out so we can stamp it out. So I don't want to have a discussion on that, DM, but I think it's important for us here. There's females amongst us. Everybody must speak up. We must stamp it out. Thanks, DM.
So colleagues, we'll have the last presentation and then we're done. We'll have lunch and we can go. So there was local responders that worked with Tracer. Please load the presentation for local responders. That's the last one. Tracer, who is presenting? Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, colleagues. This is the feedback from EMTs. But while I'm given this opportunity, I would like to thank the NDMC for giving us the opportunity to be here and to be part of this simulation. And as an NGO, there's many things that we have learned in this collaboration, and we hope to continue with this partnership as well to improve the rapid response when it comes to any disasters within the country and internationally. Thank you. So what went well for us as EMT, the exercise as a whole, the great collaboration between stakeholders, the different sectorial departments, the interaction between different groups, a lot of learning that took place between the different departments as well, and the last one, gaining new information as well. So I know this was like relatively new to us as South Africans, especially on the IC command systems. And then now what could be improved is the logistics that can be improved in terms of the event itself, the time management. And then also what we picked up was to do a practical simulation for local authority at the same time as the ERE. So we picked up that as much as we learned theory as well, we wanted to put it into practical to see how would we respond. So maybe at a better venue, we can have a practical simulation taking place as well. And then the planning of the event, I know it's the first of its kind, but for future references, the planning of this event should be more in-depth. And then the information flow. So the information flow should be allowed. We're talking about everybody was in just one room, and we had to interact and intercept with each other. So the planning could be better and the information flow could be allowed. The venue that will assist more learning, information flow. A venue that will accommodate a scenario, like I mentioned before. And then to involve other departments within the metro in the scenario. So there are many different government sectorial departments that were not present, which we really require their assistance in terms of human settlements, your Department of Education, even spatial planning, public Department of Public Works as well, to be part of these simulations. And then understanding of the budget that will be allowed. So we all had this debate in terms of the budget as to how much budget will be acquired for each department to run their logistics and so forth. And then what did we learn? So the training on the incident command systems for all the provinces, municipalities, and NGOs. I think that was very critical for all of us. And then the training on how the INSARAG system works. That was very critical as well. So all of us that are mainly here from departments and NGOs, we probably need to have more workshops on how the INSARAG system works for us locally and the international more especially, so that we can deploy our teams out there as well. And then allow for more transfer of skills between the national and international partners. So what we discussed was to have the inter-transfer of skills from South Africa to international countries as well, to see what they've learned, what we've learned, what we know, what we can improve on. So this exercise here, to have it probably on an annual basis as well, and also to deploy teams within the international space. So when we are responding to disasters internationally from a South African perspective, we would like for our USAR teams, USAR South African teams to be deployed, and they can improve on their knowledge as well. And then the practical points for South Africa is our awareness trainings. I think that's very critical for us as well. Within our awareness trainings, as much as we have with communities and so forth, we need to now sit together collectively and have more awareness trainings on how the systems operate as well. And then more simulations on a municipal, which is your local, provincial, and national level, to get more familiarized with the system and how we can respond to disasters. And obviously to also have within the interprovincial structures to have deployments of our USAR teams. That's very critical. And then the incorporation of the ICT, like I mentioned, is to have more of these trainings and workshops on how the ICT works on the local level, and then the continual sharing of information. So it doesn't just stop only with the workshops that we have, but interacting, speaking out, sending out emails, and so forth. That can also help with the continual sharing of information. And then the deployment of USAR and the duplication in other provinces. Like I've mentioned, we have a team that's continuously training for deployment, but we haven't used them in instances, for example, the Eastern Cape floods that we had recently, where they would have been more effective on a more local front of it. And then we should have those bilateral agreements between the provinces for their responses, and not just keep the USAR team just to be on standby. So thank you for that. Yeah, so in closing, we'd like to have more interaction, more workshops, more trainings, and obviously our international counterparts as well. When you do offer your trainings, do include us as South Africans to be part of your trainings as well, so we'll have a better understanding and the relationship we can hold. Thank you once again for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much. So there's a lot that has been shared by all the groups, and the idea is that the exercise becomes a trigger or an initiator of some progress. You know, at the international level, there's a lot of lessons we've captured, the issue of the guidelines, and people who are part of the INSARAG training working group are here. There might be, you know, some recommendations on how maybe the global guideline for exercises can be improved. There are processes to do with the USAR teams themselves at international level, at national level, local actors. So there's a whole lot of things. So from the perspective of the Secretariat, we will have a report, and the report will have recommendations on things that could be improved within the network, which the Secretariat can follow up to implement. But obviously, there are aspects that we have learned as individuals. You do not wait. You don't have to wait for the Secretariat, the INSARAG Secretariat, to have those implemented. I'm sure as individuals, as teams, as responders, there are so many things that this exercise has brought to your attention that you could start implementing right away. And there's a lot of trainings. Some of them will coordinate them through the Secretariat. Some of them maybe will they'll be coordinated by the USAR, international USAR teams. Take an initiative to participate, you know, go and learn and come back home and also teach others. That way, when we meet again in an exercise like this, whether it's in Qatar or at the global meeting in Brazil, we will have moved, you know, forward based on the experiences that we've had. So the next steps from the point of evaluation and learning is that there will be a summarized report for the international audience, and then we will give to the NDMC all the other components that are to do with the plan for South Africa, so that you could use this as an opportunity for you guys to develop something that can enhance your USAR strategy or your INSARAG activities in the country. At this point, yesterday we had index, and today it's the end of the workshop, but before we close, I'll invite the exercise director to come and give us his blessings, and then we can have lunch and go home. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think this moment has arrived. I think you can see that people have already taken their luggages, and then to get to the different means of transport, and then to go to the different places of origin. What we wanted to say is, colleagues, we just wanted to say thank you very much to all the role players in this exercise of ours. If it wasn't because of you, this exercise wouldn't have been what it was or what it is, and then today. I know that you have consumed a lot, and then you are still going to digest on your way back home and even at home. And then please let us keep the fire burning, and then let this be the way that we are going to do business in different countries who are represented here. And then so that even when you go out on different missions, and then we speak the same language, we do things the same, and everything is the same. What will be differing, it will be only the uniforms. Now, what we are saying is, the latter speakers that spoke before me, they said everything. I don't want to spoil what they said to yourselves. Mine is just to say to yourself, thank you very much for your participation. Your presence here is highly commendable. Now, what we are saying, colleagues, before you can leave, I wanted to say to yourself that before you leave, and then here at home, and then they have cooked, and then there is enough food for everyone. And I'm humbly requesting that no one must leave without eating. And please look at each other. All of you must eat. And then what we are saying is you can go out here. Everything is well prepared this side. And then, Mr. Kalonga, you also moved this program very well, and then today. And then we have learned that you are also multi-skilled. I thought that maybe you only deal with the things and then on the, on the regional level and then of INSARAG. But thank you very much, sir. You did everything, you put us on the map. Colleagues, this brings us to the end of our event for today. And this event is officially closed. Thank you very much. And please have the safe journey, all of you. Thank you very much.